Today I'm down in Southern California because Honda has pulled the covers off of the updated 2026 CR-V. There's some changes in every model, but the most important change is the inclusion of the new Trailsport trim that we have over here. It's not only the first time we've had the Trailsport treatment on a CR-V, it's the first hybrid Trailsport from Honda. So let's take a deeper dive. The first place we should start is under the hood, because not only is this the first hybrid Trailsport model, it's one of the few more rugged hybrid models available in the United States. Under here we find the same core 2-liter hybrid system that we find in the rest of the CR-V lineup, producing 204 horsepower. What's unique about Honda's hybrid system is that it's a serial hybrid below about 40 miles an hour or so. That means we have a pretty powerful electric motor mechanically driving all 4 wheels. Yes, it has a mechanical all-wheel drive system. So in that respect, it is very different from something like a RAV4 Woodland, which uses an E-axle in the back. And that means it cannot send as much power to the rear and doesn't have quite the mechanical capability or the mechanical all-wheel drive traditional feel that we should get in the CR-V Trailsport. Honda says that not only have they tweaked things in the software to support the Trailsport model, they've actually tweaked the traction control in every hybrid all-wheel drive model, actually every all-wheel drive model, period, to better transfer power across the front and rear axles, especially in situations where you may have 2 wheels, one on each side of the vehicle, that don't have any traction at all. So better performance on-road and off-road. Now let's talk about the rest of the Trailsport transformation, starting with the front end here. We of course have the full LED headlights that we've come to expect in the CR-V. These are pretty attractive LED reflector designs with LED DRLs and LED turn signals there. You'll notice we have some subtle bumper changes down here, lots of gloss black, and of course the orange Trailsport logo right there. This is the same new green paint job that debuted on the Passport recently, so you can get yourself a matching CR-V and matching Passport if you're interested. Down here we have some all-terrain tires. These are 18-inch wheels and 18-inch tires, 235/60 R18s. And these are not the most aggressive all-terrain tires out there, but they're probably going to be a better balance between on-road and mild off-road capability than some of those more aggressive tires that you might find. Of course, you can always swap yourself in some more aggressive rubber if you wanted to. These are Continental cross-contact traction plus technology tires, if I could spit that out. The rest of the format of the CR-V, it hasn't really changed. So about the same size, about the same height as before. We have some gloss black handles here on the Trailsport. Every hybrid model gets gloss black surrounds for the windows. And you'll notice we have a 165-pound rating up here for the roof rack. And of course, you can get a number of different accessories from Honda and from the aftermarket community to help load your CR-V up. Coming around the back, you'll notice some other subtle tweaks for the Trailsport model, not just this Trailsport badge right over here, but a different lower bumper with very similar chrome finishers on the exhaust to the other models in the lineup. And speaking of the rest of the lineup, Honda has not changed the trim structure on the CR-V. It's quite logical because they sold over 400,000 of them last year, and that means there's actually room in the lineup now to add a Trailsport without taking out any of the other trims. This one is the top-end Sport Touring model, so if you want all the latest features and gadgets and gizmos on your CR-V, but you don't necessarily need the all-terrain tires, then you might want to check out the Sport Touring. Although, I don't know if I would mind necessarily swapping in some of those Trailsport parts onto the Sport Touring. That's certainly something you could do yourself because the hybrid system is exactly the same. You notice we have gloss black 19-inch wheels on this one, very similar tire size, 235/55 R19s. On the Trailsport, we do get slightly more cushion. We had a 60 series tire over there. Coming around to the back of the Sport Touring, you'll notice very similar design, except that down here on the rear bumper, we don't get that satin chrome or satin gray section there, but we still get the same chrome finishers on the outside. Now you should know that front and rear, we don't get any added underbody protection in the CR-V Trailsport. So we do get a relatively small metal panel up under there to help protect the engine. We don't get any extra in the Trailsport. We also don't get any increased ride height in this model. That's definitely a bit of a difference between this and what we see, of course, in the new Passport Trailsport. Moving to the inside, every Trailsport model is going to get all-weather floor mats there. You'll notice we do have fabric seats. I think that's actually my preference for a model like this because they're going to ventilate a bit better in warmer weather. The orange accent stitching there. And then if we move up to the top of the seat up here, you notice that we have the Trailsport logo embroidered into those head restraints. On the inside, the biggest change happens in the center of the dashboard, where we find a new, larger touchscreen infotainment system that now supports wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto standard in every trim. You'll notice we have a different button arrangement here than we find in that Sport Touring model we're going to take a look at in a moment. We have a direct access button to our connected smartphone feature. We have the home button here, which is a relatively simplistic background. Keep in mind we are in the Trailsport model right now, so just Apple CarPlay, Android Auto right there, some general settings, and that's basically it. Below that, we have the same dashboard layout that we find in the rest of the CR-V lineup for 2025, so no major changes in this section of the dash. Coming down here, we find USB charge only and USB interface ports, so you don't have to use wireless CarPlay if you don't want to. Qi wireless charging mat is now standard in every trim. We have basically the same buttons and same shifter arrangement that we found before. Over here on the driver's side, we find the same steering wheel that we had before, but we find expanded availability of the full LCD instrument cluster. Now, pay no attention to the warning lights that are on this screen. This is an early pre-production prototype model, and it's been turned on and off and plugged and unplugged so many times it's not exactly sure what end is up. So we have that in more trims than before, but you still aren't going to find that in the base LX trim. Honda didn't change the dimensions for the CR-V because honestly they didn't need to. This already has one of the roomiest interiors in this segment and certainly one of the more comfortable driver seats available too. Although I do kind of wish we had four-way lumbar support in something like the Trailsport. We have a manual tilt telescopic steering column with a large range of motion, and even though we have the standard moonroof in this model, we still have a reasonable amount of headroom. But legroom is really one of the big reasons to get the CR-V, especially over the Toyota RAV4, because the RAV4 just doesn't have a lot of rear seat room. And the doors back here open to almost 90 degrees, certainly making it easier not just for adults, but also for kids and kids in child seats to get in and out of the back. Just check out the legroom we have here. There's a lot more room than we find in that RAV4 hybrid. And if I move over to this side and fold the second row seats, we have not only quite a lot of recline for these second row seats, but you'll notice the seat bottom cushion actually articulates down as this seat is folding to help maximize the cargo room in the back. Now, there is a downside to this particular design. The downside is the location of the battery pack. Instead of it being under the rear seat, which is how those rear seats can fold down into the footwell, it's back here where the spare tire would normally live. Now, Honda is not alone in this. The new Subaru hybrids are also missing a spare tire because of the location of the battery in that exact same location. On one hand, that gives you more cargo capacity. On the other hand, it does mean that this is going to be the only Trailsport model without a spare tire. Now at this point in time, we don't know how much the new Trailsport trim is going to cost you, but we know it's going to be priced somewhere between the Sport and Sport L trim most likely. That means it's also going to be the most affordable Trailsport model in the Honda lineup. Obviously, pricing details are going to come a little bit closer to on-sale dates. Also, we don't have final fuel economy figures for this model just yet. It may be a little bit lower than the rest of the hybrid trims like this Sport Touring model over here because of those all-terrain tires, but you'll just have to wait and see. Now we should talk about the rest of the CR-V lineup. The base engine is still happening under the hood in the non-hybrid models, 190 horsepower out of a 1.5-liter turbocharged engine, but inside this Sport Touring trim, we get one of the other changes. I'll let the camera come in there. I'll hop in on the driver's side because in here we get basically the same LCD in the dashboard, but we get different software. This now features the full suite of Google integration here. So we have the App Store, we have the Google Assistant, we have Google Online Mapping, very much like the larger and more expensive Honda products. Set the climate control to 70 degrees. And of course, any of the other Google integrated functions or other features that you can get with Google integration, you can access right there via that same Google Assistant as well. Other than that, the interior is largely the same. As you can see, the Sport Touring model gets the upgraded leather upholstery here. We have more aggressive bolstering than we find in a decent number of the competition, and that includes the Trailsport model as well, because the core seat design is common between these models. The driver's seat does not get four-way lumbar here, it's still just two-way lumbar, and we don't have a panoramic moonroof, which is one thing I might have liked to have seen for 2026. Be sure and sound off down there in the comment section below. Let us know what you think about the 2026 CR-V. Has Honda done enough to differentiate this model from the competition? And would you like to see perhaps just a little bit more in the CR-V Trailsport? Obviously, the aftermarket is going to have a ton of things available for the CR-V Trailsport. You can bet that there's probably going to be some extra underbody protection, perhaps some lift kits coming out there soon. I appreciate the differentiated styling, and of course the ash green paint job is pretty cool. I also like the fact that this is a hybrid model, not a non-hybrid like we find in most of the off-road competition. For instance, there's simply no Bronco Sport Hybrid, which always has seemed odd to me since Ford does have an all-wheel drive system that's as mechanically capable as this model. They just don't want to stick it in their smaller off-road SUV. So be sure and sound off down there and stay tuned because we should know more pricing details on the new Trailsport and the rest of the CR-V lineup pretty soon. We should also know final fuel economy numbers for this model with the more aggressive all-terrain tires at some point closer to the on-sale date. And stay tuned because hopefully one of us will be driving one of these over the next few weeks. And as always, be sure and check out EV Buyer's Guide, the Auto Buyer's Guide podcast. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, X, and all those other social things, Blue Skies, the threads, all the things that apparently we must cover all the time because we have to be everywhere all at once. See everybody later.